Welcome to Dynamite Nunchucks, where today we'll be diving deep down memory lane into the world of video game nostalgia to bring you the top 5 games that desperately need a remake. So sit back, grab your controller, and get ready to relive some of the most iconic moments in gaming history. And if you're anything like me, you may possibly shed a tear or two when you see these games and remember what life was like back when they were at their peak. Number 5, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Multiplayer. The good old days when the only thing we had to worry about were campers and noob tubes. Remember when you could just run around with a tactical and throwing knife and feel like a total Rambo? And who doesn't remember the thrill of running through Rust, sniping dweebs left and right, and getting called a noob by some 12-year-old from Ohio? But just imagine if they brought back that classic gameplay but with today's graphics. All of the kill streaks with today's graphics. Just keep the kill streaks like they were. They were fine. They don't need to be changed there, Mr. Call of Duty. Imagine seeing the sweat glisten off your enemy's face as you no-scope them from across the map. And I know there's somebody out there who's thinking, well, what about the glitches and the exploits? Well, I say bring those back too. Let us jump out of the map and see what the game looks like from outer space. And for the love of Captain Price, let us stack those care packages until they reach the moon. This was so close. It was so close, Activision. Just give us what we really want. Give us that sweet, sweet remastered multiplayer. And let us relive the glory days of no-scoping and the noob tubing and the knifing and the teabagging and the smack talk lobbies. Just give it to us. We want it so bad. So bad. There was just something about the game that we just couldn't resist. Maybe it was the nostalgia, or maybe it was the simplicity, or maybe it's the fact that we miss getting yelled at by some 12-year-old over Xbox Live who apparently knew a lot about my mom. but that's all beside the fact. Just give us the remastered multiplayer and we'll all come back to you, Call of Duty. We promise. I promise. Number 4, Mercenaries Playground of Destruction. This game was a native on the PlayStation 2 and original Xbox. It was like Grand Theft Auto, but with more explosions and fewer hookers.
I am so sorry.
Now let me tell you that this game was the bomb. You could blow up anything you wanted. And I mean anything. Trees, cars, buildings, you name it. And if it didn't explode, you weren't playing it right. And now the graphics, well, let's just say that they haven't aged like fine wine. But you at least gotta give them credit because they're trying, but they're not quite cutting it. And the controls, well, the controls are like a sloth on sleeping pills. Now imagine with me, if you will, a remake, like a proper remake, where you could blow up even more stuff and there were even more realistic explosions. And the controls weren't like Mr. Flash, but more like a penguin on crack covered in Crisco oil. Okay, maybe that would be too slick, but if you haven't played this game, you're really missing out on some serious fun. But if you have played this game, then you know exactly why we need a remake on today's hardware. This game was one of the OG open world third-person shooters. It had everything you could possibly want in a game. Explosions, guns, helicopters. I mean, they really made you feel like you were the coolest action-packed hero on the planet. So EA, give us that remake, because we want to blow up everything in sight like it's the 4th of July. We want to feel like a total merc as we rain destruction down on our enemies, and we want it all to be in graphics that'll make our eyeballs scream with pleasure like cash-paying customers at a cheap motel. You did it for Dead Space. Now, maybe do it for Mercenaries. Number 3, Army of Two. Now, if you've ever played this game, you know just how fun it is to team up with a buddy and try to conquer the world. It was like Bad Boys meets Battlefield, but with a dash of Tango and Cash thrown in for good measure. And it was one of the few games where you could actually sit with your buddy in the same room, on the same couch, holding the same type of controller, and play split screen. Couch, co-op, split screen. This mess was fun. And for whatever reason, they didn't lay out the AAA red carpet for this game. It was more like the photographers trying to take pictures of people on the red carpet. I don't even know if that analogy makes sense. The graphics weren't the best when they came out, and now they just kind of look like a finger painting from a kindergarten class. And don't even get me started on the fist bumping. Sure, it was cool back in 2008, maybe even like in 2009, but it's 2023, and we only use fist bumping sometimes now. But what if this game got a remake with some sweet 4K graphics, maybe a couple of extra weapons, but the most important thing here is the split screen. Keep the couch co-op. So many games nowadays completely abandon that feature. And it's more than likely so they can sell more systems, because now if I want Jimmy to play this game with me, I have to convince Jimmy to drop $500,000 on buying a new system just so he can play it with me, instead of trying to convince him just to come over. That is so stupid.
So stupid.
But also, you know, maybe even add some even cooler moves like chest bumps and high fives. That'd be pretty sweet. Number 2, Silent Hill. And now I know what you're thinking. Silent Hill's already been remastered on the PS3 and 360. Well, to that I would say, shut up, nerd, because you're right and you're wrong. They only remastered Silent Hill 2 and 3 on those ports, and those ports were terrible. So I'm kind of glad that they left off the first one, but that just means we need the first one even more so now. Also, probably none of you thought that. And also, I'm sorry for calling you a nerd. I didn't really mean it, okay? I'm a nerd. That's what I meant to say. And look, I'm not talking about some half-butt HD port. I'm talking about a full-on, from the ground-up remake with all the bells and whistles. Because let's sit down and get serious here. The graphics, they're so bad that they make Minecraft look like a Pixar movie. But imagine those iconic foggy streets with ray tracing and next-gen lighting. Imagine the creatures of Silent Hill with updated designs and animations that'll make your skin crawl. And all those horrific cutscenes and stunning gut-wrenching detail. But why stop there, you ask? Let's add some new content too. Or how about a new ending where Harry finds out he's been in a coma the whole time and Silent Hill was actually just a dream? Just kidding, let's not do that. But how about a new playable character, like the town's local milkman or something? Or maybe just a new area of the town to explore. So come on, Mr. Konami or Konami, and give us the remake that we've wanted for so many years, and I feel like at this point we deserve, because people nowadays think they deserve everything. Give us the Silent Hill goodness with all the modern bells and whistles, and who knows, maybe we'll finally figure out what the heck is going on in that town.
What could be making things like this?
Number 1, Red Dead Redemption.
Mr. Marston, I've been hearing about your plans.
Have you, Miss McFarlane?
I'm talking about the game that made cowboys cool again. The game that made us all wish we could grow a mustache and ride off into the sunset. The game that made us all say, "Yeehaw, partner." But let's be real, the game is older than a tumbleweed. The graphics are about as outdated as a horse and buggy, and don't even get me started on the controls. It's like trying to lasso a steer with a wet noodle. And let's not forget about the glitches. You know, the ones where John decides to do the Harlem Shake out of nowhere, or you see a human flying through the air like a majestic seagull. But glitches and all, the game was a near masterpiece. And when making this video, the deciding factor of this game snagging the number 1 spot was the downloadable content, otherwise known as DLC, or otherwise known as Undead Nightmare. And now I really know what you're thinking this time. Isn't that just a DLC for Red Dead Redemption? And to that I say, yes it is, but it's so much more. This is easily one of the best zombie games ever made. You want a compelling story? Bam, you got it. You want cool weapons? Bam, you got it. You want some sick horses of the 4 horses of the horses apocalypse? Bam, you got all those too. Plus you got a unicorn. can't ever go wrong with the unicorn. Unicorns are cool. But this game is a super cool teenager now, and a remake would introduce this fantastic game to an entire new generation of gamers and give us old fans a chance to relive the magic all over again. So in conclusion, RDR and Undead Nightmare are two games that deserve a modern day remake with a perfect blend of cowboys, zombies, and the Wild West. It's a game that's just begging to be remade for a new generation, so come on, Rockstar, give us what we want. We're ready to dust off our 6-shooters and ride off into the sunset once again. Yeehaw, partner. And once again, that's my list. If you enjoyed today's video, go find an old person and tell them to stay golden, pony boy. Whatever that means. Also, if there's a game that you think deserves to be remade or that you know is being remade, simply let me know in the comments. And if you like today's video, makes me feel like a better person. And the last thing that we'll end with today is if you're ever asleep at night and you hear weird noises, simply jump up out of bed and start screaming even weirder noises. You will assert dominance and the weird noises will stop. Because no one likes to hear weird noises in the middle of the night. Thank you for watching my video.